What's up, guys? It's Smalls
Biggs.
and we are back with another episode of our series, Bully Within.
It's
It's a fourth and final episode, right?
That's right. Yeah. Before we get into it, though, I'd just like to remind you guys to like and subscribe. The reason we ask you guys to do this is to better help our algorithm and just to get positive reinforcement and
It's a big way for us to know if we're doing good and if you like our content. It's for you guys to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and like. Like when you guys don't get, well, people don't get this. If you like, it makes our video perform better because it goes out more. They're like, oh, YouTube's like, oh, they actually like this, so let's push it onto more people. So then we get more views, we get more people, and that helps us make sure, oh, they want this, so let's do special things for them. It's really hard right now because we're not getting a whole ton of views, and we still want to do special stuff for you guys because you guys are amazing. So
that's right.
we want to make the Smalls and Bigs army just even better.
That's right.
Even more. But enough of that. Let's jump right into what we're talking about today, which is forgiveness. You want to read the quote?
Yeah. So here's the quote for today that we left off with last episode. Forgiveness is a strange thing. It can sometimes be easier to forgive our enemies than our friends. It can be hardest of all to forgive people we love. Fred Rogers.
Yeah.
So what kind of stands out to you with that quote?
It's hard to pick one thing to to point out that stands out about this.
Yeah.
I love that it points out that it's easier to just forgive people that you don't care about. Like a dude, just say you're driving and someone has road rage and they flip you off or something, or cuss you out or something like that, and then it's easier to forgive that dude than say someone you really care about betraying you or doing something to hurt you. It's easier to forgive that guy. Oh yeah, maybe they just have a bad day. I forgive them. Then say someone betraying you, and then you're like, well, that still hurts because I trusted you.
Right.
That's where I feel like that's where it's different. Is the trust. You don't trust the person that flipped you off or cussed you out, but you do trust the people that are close to you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's harder to forgive the people that you trust than it is to just random people.
Yeah, that makes sense because the people you trust, you can lose that trust, and then there's there's a hole in that relationship. So it does make it a lot harder.
Because then it's how can the person that got hurt? It's how do I trust you anymore? How do I trust you with anything if you did that to me? Sort of thing.
Yeah, I know growing up in high school, that was a big problem for me. Was there a situation in your life where that kind of was the deal?
Yeah, I've talked about this person before. I haven't said his name before. I have, but I edited it out. But there's this one dude that started coming around and all that stuff, and I started trusting him at the beginning, all of that stuff, because I thought he was a homie and all, and I was like, okay, this guy's a homie. I can trust him. And then it turned out he was going behind my back and getting with the girl I was flirting with, trying to get with. He was flirting with her. They ended up together, and I heard from multiple people that he was just talking trash about me behind my back. And ever since then, I haven't been able to trust him. I can forgive him, but I can't trust him, sort of thing.
Yeah. There's a missing part of something that should still be there.
It's
Yeah.
because even later on, I've tried to trust him with something, and then I hear from other people that he, like, went and blabbed about it. And I'm like, dude, you're still doing the same stuff you did to me way back then. So why would I trust you now?
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Kind of going into our topic here now. Well, I mean, I guess we are in our topic, but diving a little bit deeper. When you talk about this not trusting, is it kind of a little bit of a, I guess, is it kind of a little bit of a grudge, or is it just, how do I word this? You know? You understand what I'm saying, kind of?
Kind of.
Yeah, it's
Not
kind of hard to explain what I'm trying to think of, but
Yeah. It started off as a grudge originally because I was upset because as teenage boys do.
yeah.
One dude steals your goal,
Understandable.
you're gonna be mad. You're just gonna be mad. So I was mad about that. Of course, I had a grudge for a while, but then after all, the stuff with that goal ended. Like it was like long after when I realized that she wasn't a good person at all. Like just evil, pure evil.
Yeah, and years
She's-
after us telling
Okay.
you.
She's not pure evil.
No,
She likes to lead people on a lot. And she was doing that to me for a while.
Yeah.
And then finally I realized, and then I talked to her about it. I was like, if you truly like me, then I'll go ahead. I will jump headfirst into this. But if you're just leading me on so you have like a backup or something like that, then I'm not going to do this anymore.
Right.
And then she just stopped texting me. And that gave me my answer. I was like, well, there you go. That's my answer right there. And then afterwards, I was like, okay, maybe I could trust him again. And then, like, once I tried to, I just realized that it wasn't that. It was more of like there's a trust building there.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone destroyed it. It's like if someone came in your life, became like your best friend, and you go to like this place that they go to a lot, but you don't. And then you go there and you're like, oh, my name's this. And like, oh, so you're the one that does like, and then they just like tell you your secrets that this person's been telling them.
Yeah.
You're like, wait, how do you know that? I don't tell anybody. I've only told my friend that goes here. Like, oh, well, they say it all the time. All of that stuff. It was kind of like that. Like, I'm trying to trust you and let you into my like inner circle and make you a friend. But instead, you want to act that way and betray my trust. So then why should I like give you my trust back? Sort of thing.
So
Like
does,
I
guess. Hold on. Sorry.
I forgave him enough where I'll be in a room with him and I'll have like talks like I do with anybody, but I won't trust him anymore. Like I won't trust him with my stuff, sort of thing.
Yeah. So does
Like,
it coincide then?
What?
So does trust and forgiveness does that coincide?
With people you care about, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But with random people, no. Like the bullies that bullied me, I've forgiven them. I never trusted them.
Yeah.
But I forgive them. Because at the end of the day, it made me who I am. Like the stuff I went through, it made me realize stuff that I want to have. Mm-hmm. Which I'm not saying it's okay to bully at all. That's wrong. That's a wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
it made me realize that they might have something going on in their life that they don't know how to deal with.
Yeah.
So they're taking out on the people. And I've been in a situation that was kind of like that, where I went through a tough time growing up. And not a usual way people think. It's more of a medical way. And I've always been small. So I was just used to getting picked on. So
Right.
it was more of a, I get where they're coming from. They can't deal with it, so they're pushing out other people. Mm-hmm. Or they have people they want to, like, talk to it about, but those people just don't want to accept it, sort of thing. So instead, they just rather take frustrations out on people they don't know. So I've accepted that. But when it comes to like someone I care about, if they betray me, then it's more of a now you have to, now the trust is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be hard for you to gain back my trust.
Yeah.
And he never tried to get back my trust. He more like, he thought we were cool. Because I told him I forgave him before.
Right.
So he thought we were just cool. But no, he's more of a like a normal person I see every day than a friend. And those people that are like, I'm so sorry, how do I like gain your trust back? Those people end up gaining your trust back, I feel like, more than the people that are like, oh, I forgive you, so they think you automatically trust them. No, there's still something there that's blocking you.
So
I'm sorry, I will.
no, it was good. So kind of going into the whole idea of forgiveness. First, let's kind of go into the definition of forgiveness. So most psychologists generally define forgiveness as a conscious, deliberate decision to release feelings of resentment or vengeance toward a person or group who has harmed you, regardless of whether they actually deserve your forgiveness.
Yeah, I've definitely done the definition portion of forgiveness.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like most people think of forgiveness is a way of, if you want to get revenge or you have pent up like anger towards someone, you're like, you just release it. And you're like, well, now I don't have it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of thing.
Which we're going to get into that here in a little
Yeah.
bit. But
So I'm not going to dive into it. I'm going to wait till then to dive into it.
Yeah.
So stick in the episode if you want to hear more about what I think about it.
well, actually, yeah. Okay. So, forgiveness, there's a lot of steps to forgiveness.
Yeah, there's
and
7
so
steps to forgiveness that we found. We're going to do different types, but we couldn't really find different types. Well, we found them. We just didn't understand them, really. And we were like, we don't want to look up the definitions. I felt like that would take us a while.
Yeah. Anyways, so these are just kind of a few of them. There might be more out there. We're not sure. We're also not professionals.
Comment down below. Like, this could be one of the comments you're going to comment down below, but comment down, like, if there's any other ones we didn't get to, like stages that maybe you guys have went through. And you're like, well, when I forgive people, I go through this step. Or you could be like, well, a lot of people do this step. Or we put them in order. Maybe they're in a different order for you than they are in this. Mm-hmm. So let's dive right into them for you guys.
Yeah, so you want to take step 1 here?
Acknowledgement. Acknowledge the hurt. Who hurt you and why did they do it? What is the context of the situation and how long did this happen? A lot of question marks in that.
Yeah. It's a lot of questions
There's
here.
1, 2. Well, actually, there's 2. I thought there was more than that.
It's kind of one big question, right?
Well, no, it's like 2, 1 split in half. But you can kind of put it together. Yeah, I feel like everybody does this at the beginning of forgiveness is like acknowledge it.
Yeah,
Like,
you gotta
You're just like,
define the problem and see.
exactly. Like, if I put it to that scenario I was talking about earlier about the dude, was he hurt me by talking behind my back, spreading rumors about me and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Or about if someone's bullying you, like, oh, they hurt me by calling me names, or holding me by hitting me, or tripping me, or whatever scenario. Mm-hmm. Spreading rumors about me, being mean to me, all that stuff. The first step to it is acknowledging it. So if you don't acknowledge it at all, and you're just like, well, I forgive you, then you're not actually forgiving them. You're skipping over everything. You're just like, oh, I forgive you. And they're like, forgive me for what? And you're like, for the stuff you did. And they're like, what's the stuff?
Yeah, that kind of
Yeah.
that makes sense.
And if you don't even know what you forgive them for, then why forgive them at all?
It's true.
That's like if you thought someone stole something from you. Let's just say you have like a candy or something. You close your eyes for a second. There's 3 people in the room, and one person steals it. And then you just out of nowhere, you're like, oh, I forgive all of you. Well, you're forgiving people for no reason. Literally. There's no reason to forgive anybody in that room because you don't know who did it and who's holding you.
Yeah.
Or why they're holding you.
I also think it's beneficial to have a conversation about it too.
Exactly.
We're
We're not saying with the bully.
Yeah,
You
I
can.
think,
You can. But in some situations, it's still there.
yeah,
So you might say mean things. So maybe it's better to find a friend, a therapist.
yeah,
An
or go
adult.
through the rest of the steps.
If you're an adult, go find another adult.
Yeah,
Or one of your friends. Something. Someone that maybe you don't know what it is they hurt you for. But maybe someone else you know can help you find it. Mm-hmm. Which the best person to do that is a therapist.
it's true.
They can help you through a lot of this. They can help you get through the stages of forgiveness.
So moving on to
If
number...
you can afford it, once again. Because not everybody can afford therapist
Right.
or therapy.
So step 2, consider. Consider how the hurt and the pain has affected you. The word consider is key here because it involves thinking before making a decision. Before you decide on whether or not you will forgive this person, consider the negative feelings you've acquired since the incident. How has the pain changed you? How detrimental was the person's mistake to your life or someone else? For this one, yeah, it's kind of like you gotta weigh.
Yeah.
You gotta kind of weigh it,
Like,
putting it on a scale
Yeah.
and
like
decide what is
this
needed.
step would be like if someone just called you, like, you're stupid. How much did that affect you versus someone being like, you shouldn't even be born or something like that. Like, which one would affect you more?
Yeah, or they injure you in a way that
Yeah.
stops you from doing
Yeah.
something that you love. That
Or
could
they,
be
like, messed up your life by just saying a couple words. Mm-hmm. Like, I've been through this one before in middle school when a dude said he was going to jump me. And I just didn't go to school for like a whole month. Maybe 2 months. I don't know exactly how long. But I did go to school for a very long time because I was afraid that I was going to get jumped. Mm-hmm. And I was born in California, and I grew up with 2 parents that were from California. And my dad said, he told me that don't pick a fight. Unless, and my mom always told me, if you're going to get in a fight, make sure they punch you first. Don't start a fight. But I knew that I couldn't deal with it if he had his homies with him. Because I had nobody. I walk home alone. So
Right.
I was like, if I walk home alone and this dude jumps me, I could maybe take him on. But I can't take his boys on. I had no one else. No one knew I was going through that either. Because he, like, never mentioned it. He was, like, friendly for the most part. Like, of course, we would just make fun of each other all the time. But
Yeah.
I do that with my friends back in middle school a lot. So I just thought it was normal until he decided to throw that out.
Should we move on to step 3?
Yep.
You want to take step 3?
No, I don't really like reading.
Oh, okay.
I read the first one because it's just a short sentence.
It's true.
But a lot of these are super long.
Step 3.
I'll read the quotes.
Okay.
I don't know
got
if I
that.
can read one of their names, but I can read the quotes.
That's okay. Step 3 is accept that you cannot change the past. No matter how much you wish
Yeah.
this pain could be reversed, it's time to admit to yourself
Yeah.
that your anger toward the person won't redeem what they have done. It is during this step that you must thoughtfully consider whether or not you want to forgive.
Yeah, I'm just trying to add scenarios to all
Yeah.
of them. But for this one, I've definitely gone through it. Every time I got bullied when I was younger, I was like, how would I, like, afterwards I'll be like, oh, I could have dealt with it like this way. Like I should have dealt it this way if I could go back in time. Like, for a long time I was like, if I could go back in time, I would have told some of my boys to come with me, walk home, and we would have like just beat them up, and I would have been perfectly fine. But then I've learned to accept, especially once I turned 18 and started getting older and started building relationships with my friends, because for a while I wasn't really close to Chance or Elena or some people in my life. I just shut everybody out. And once I started building those back, I was like, why even think about the past? Like, it's good to think about it, but staying in the past stops you from continuing on to the future. It like just keeps you in one place.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I'm just laying down wisdom here. Like, I don't even mean to half the time. I'll just be talking, and then it comes out. I might seem stuck up right now. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, very humble.
I try to be humble, okay?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Accepting your past is a very hard thing to do, but
Have you done what I was talking about, like the whole being like, oh, I should have done this instead of that?
yeah, I used to do that all the time in the shower, all the time.
Let's go.
Every day when something wouldn't go wrong, or I would say something wrong,
Yeah.
I would just go in the shower. Oh, I should have done that. That's part of the reason why I took such long showers, because
Oh, bro. There'd be some nights I'll just stay
that's my
awake
argument place.
the whole night being like, I should have done that differently. Especially when I was still talking to that one girl. I was like, oh, I should have said this instead of that.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I should have done this instead of that. And finally, when I broke, once I ended it and we stopped talking all that stuff, I was like, well, I'm just so stupid.
Yeah.
It's like, why was I dreading on that stuff? She evil. Get that out of my life. I'm not doing that no more.
Yeah, I think the beautiful thing about it is that you can use that stuff to
Yeah.
better help your future in
And-
future situations where that
Yeah.
comes up.
And it helps you to relate to a lot of people. Because I feel like a lot of people do that. Mm-hmm. Of just like getting stuck in the past. It's something we all do. Because we're like, well, my life would have been better if I did this instead. Or something like that. But it's never going to change. No matter how hard you think about it. Being like, well, this should have happened instead of that. Nope. Something happened. You're stuck with it. So why not live in the moment instead of living in the past?
That's right. Yeah. I think
I'm not saying it's bad to live in the past. Because there are times where you could live in the past. And it's okay. Like sometimes you're just chilling with your friend. Like I do this with Chance sometimes. I'm like, oh, you remember when we did this? But I feel like when you do that, not like that, but how people usually use it is thinking about like the mistakes they made instead of the good times they had. Mm-hmm. Like people still do that. I'll admit, a lot of people do that, but I feel like the only times you get stuck is when you're thinking about the mistakes you made and how you could have changed them.
Yeah, and then sometimes it takes away from the benefits that came from that too.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there is, but sometimes there's not benefits.
Sometimes
there's
it's just it's a
only
sucky thing that happened.
But sometimes there's benefits to
Yeah.
what happens after like after you make a mistake or somebody, you know,
Yeah.
makes a mistake against you, you know. There's some times
Yeah.
where, you know, somebody will come up and give you a hug or something out of nowhere. And yeah, so that's focusing on those things is very much helpful. And it's beneficial to, you know, to forgiving.
I don't like hugs. Just for you guys to.
I love hugs.
I got too many hugs as a kid.
That's true.
Like, anytime someone would meet me in real life and they'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry for you. And then they would hug me. And I'm like, I don't even know you. Don't hug me, please. Please, I need personal space.
Yeah.
Especially when old ladies do it. It was awful. No offense, but it was awful.
I'm definitely a hug guy. I like hugs.
Yeah.
So step 4, we'll go on to step 4 here.
Okay.
Determine
Determine.
Determine whether or not you will forgive. This is when the forgiveness process will either begin or end. This decision should not be made lightly, as it will determine the future of your relationship with this person.
Yeah.
I think the most important part when coming to determining whether or not to forgive that person is that it's not determining whether you're gonna forgive that person or not. I think it's like determining when that will happen. I think it kind of gets tricky because you don't want to hold a grudge, right?
Yeah.
That's not a healthy
And
thing.
I feel like this. We'll come back to the. I'll talk more about this once we get through the steps because it's literally after the steps.
Yeah.
But I feel like it. This is a big thing because you can either do it internally or externally. It's the thing. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, I'm actually gonna you talk to people and you're like, oh, maybe I should go forgive them, or you think to yourself and you're like, maybe I've been too hard on them. Maybe I should try to rebuild the relationship, or maybe I should just forgive them and let it go and move on, sort of thing. Because it's not always because this next one coming up is talking about rebuilding the relationship, which I'll let you read and I'll talk before I just about repair.
Oh yeah. We're done with determination, huh? Or
Unless you have stuff
determining.
to add.
I kind of covered what I wanted to cover, but
Okay. I was just making sure I wasn't cutting off something you were gonna say.
yeah, it's kind of self-explanatory. Determination.
Yeah, determine if you actually forgive them.
Yeah. Step 5 is repair. Repair the relationship with the person who wronged you before any act of forgiveness or reconciliation.
Yeah.
Reconciliation. Rebuild the connection you used to have with this person. In most cases, you will be the instigator of this repair, but you have thoughtfully engaged in the previous 4 steps. Then there is a higher chance of success. Note that you are repairing the relationship, not restoring it.
Yeah.
It will likely take more time for the relationship to turn to normal, whatever that may look like to you. Acts of repairing can include kind words, simple gestures, or even gifts. Repairing is definitely a hard one especially for the thing we're talking about, because sometimes not necessarily there's not times where you necessarily had a relationship with the bully. Maybe you have.
Like this one about the person I was talking about earlier that lost my trust, but I forgive them. We were starting to build a friendship. We didn't really have one. So by the time I found out all of that stuff, it was like, nope, no longer friends. So instead of when I forgave them, now it's more like a acquaintance than an actual friend.
Right.
But that's because it's not about them. Well, it is about them. It's more of I need friends around me that I can tell stuff to and be confident that they won't tell people, sort of thing.
Yeah, and so if that were to be like a repairing, that would be maybe talking to that person and telling them hey, this is where you messed up. That's for if you want that relationship.
That's if you want the relationship. And then me and you just
This is our
we've done this already.
yeah.
We have a podcast together, guys. If we were friends, we would have a podcast.
It's true. I had
have
something.
anything else to add?
I had something I was gonna say. Slipped my mind. So
I'm sorry.
we can move on to the next one. If
Next
it
one.
comes back to me, I'll shout it out and scream at the top of my lungs. Step 6: learn what forgiveness means to you. So that's learning. What does it mean to you? Up until now, you probably thought that forgiveness is more for their benefit, not yours. But once a relationship is on the path to restoration and you've given yourself time to accept the reality of the past, it's clear that forgiveness is a way for you to find closure. Closure that means something. So I just did a short sermon on this not too long ago.
Cool.
About forgiveness, actually. And so I was learning.
What a quinky dink.
I know, right? It's almost like it was put there for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, just thinking about what the actual health benefits are even for forgiveness.
Yeah.
I did some research not too long ago. I still have it here. Let me pull it up here for a second.
I felt like the step 6 is very internally. Like, what does this friendship mean to me now that we're rebuilding it? Like, what does it mean to me? Sort of thing. Like, learning all this stuff and being like, deciding, like, is this friendship? Not saying, like, the friendship ends, but, like, is this a friendship where they're, like, gonna be my bestie, or is it, like, best man, all that stuff, or is it just, like, a casual friendship?
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
and
Finding how much
it could
you
also be
like that person.
It could also be like how
Like you
how do I
cherish-
forgive this person? Learning what
that.
forgiveness means to you actually. I'm gonna kind of go
It
through here
means
on my
relieving stress.
old notes.
Not
here.
really, but I feel like that's what my forgiveness was.
So Mayo Clinic did a research on forgiveness and the clinical benefits studied. So number 1 is healthier relationships, improved mental health, less anxiety, stress, and hostility, fewer symptoms of depression, lower blood pressure, a stronger immune system, improved heart health, and improved self-esteem. And then I also did some research on holding a grudge and what can do based off Mayo Clinic again. Number 1 is bring anger and bitterness into new relationships and experiences. Become so wrapped up in the wrong that you can't enjoy the present. Become depressed, irritable, or anxious. Feel at odds with the spiritual beliefs. Lose valuable and enriching connections with others. And then 2 others I thought of that I'm not going to share. But yeah, those were just kind of some things that you can learn about forgiveness in a like physical way.
Yeah. On the holding a grudge, the beginning part.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about that before we started.
Yeah.
Podcasting.
Yeah.
With
And
that.
that's what
we were kind of talking about that.
Oh,
you didn't even
I
bring
was
it up.
upstairs. No, I was upstairs.
No, you were down here.
I was?
Yeah.
Oh, I must have been doing something.
Remember, we talk about it, and Matt was like, has someone ever not forgave someone?
Oh,
like, in
yeah,
their
yeah.
whole lifetime?
Um,
And I was talking
Yeah,
about how, like, you can, and then I gave the scenario where, like, someone treated them bad their whole life, and they, like, never forgave the person, that they could bring in, like, think everybody else is like them, and have, like, anger and stuff towards every new relationship, sort of thing.
right.
Oh, that's a saint.
I didn't even think about saying anything. I guess I was saving it for the podcast, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Great minds think alike.
That's right. Yeah. So yeah.
But
just keeping an eye on that, and like it'll actually have
Yeah.
physical and clinical benefits to you.
and forgiving people, you might think it's mainly for their benefit, but it's really not really. It's more of you.
Mm-hmm.
It's for you. Because sometimes the people on the receiving side don't know you're forgiving them. Because sometimes they move away or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just need to forgive them because you're just keeping all the stuff they did to you. And it's just weighing you down.
Mm-hmm.
And you just need to let it go.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's just you just saying it out loud, even if they're like halfway across the board or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying it and getting it out there, like, I forgive you for what you did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it can really help you clear your mind and focus on other stuff instead of being like, that person 3 years ago did something to me that messed me up.
Yeah.
And just acknowledging that you have amazing things to come.
Mm-hmm.
And focusing on that one thing is keeping you from them.
Yeah.
Am I just blowing your mind with this, all the stuff I'm doing?
Honestly, not to be rude or anything, but I totally blanked. My brain, I am really
I know,
tired
you're
right
super
now.
tired.
I've been doing schoolwork for the past like 7 hours today,
Bro,
so
I know. I know it sucks.
but yeah,
Studying
I
sucks.
agree. Yes.
You guys saw and listened. Matt listened, maybe.
Yeah. Matt,
Okay.
That's Matt's
I'll
job.
ask Matt how he thought of it afterwards.
Okay.
The last one. Step
Yeah.
7.
Forgive.
Whew.
Step 7.
Yep, that's step 7, guys. It's
And we'll put the link to the website where we got this from in the description and
that's
stuff.
if I remember.
I'll text you and remind you.
It's if Chance remembers.
It's if I remember. That's right.
Well,
so
we
if
also
it's
have
not
Matt.
there,
It's if Matt remembers.
if it's not there, then yeah. So step 7 is to forgive, the act of forgiving. Forgive the person who wronged you. In some cases, this will be silent, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
I was just talking about that.
Yeah. I heard that part.
I'm just
Humble. You're just very humble.
no. I was just. It's just like sometimes I'll just like go off like and just talk about something I feel like is on my heart to say. And then we'll go to like the next thing, and it's like
And it's that
basically
thing.
that. It's like, whoa, do. I'm like, am I psychic? I don't read over these. Even ask Chance. We just start immediately when we get this.
Yeah.
We
it's
talk
usually-
about it beforehand, but I never read like I didn't not read the definition of these. I just read the top names of like forgive, loan, repair, but not the definition. That's too many words for me.
Yeah. That makes sense.
My brain will
It's
hurt.
okay.
I have dyslexia, so brain
So
hurts.
I'm going to finish the definition.
if I
here.
read too much,
You may be compelled to verbally forgive the person even if you do not expect a kind of response or a kind of response. But if you have followed through on the previous steps, then their reaction won't really matter. What will matter is that you have found a way to let go and move on. I really like that last part, saying that, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what they're going to say because
exactly.
it wasn't necessarily for them.
Yeah,
Now it can be for them.
that's funny because I just said that too.
Yeah.
I'm touching on all of these before. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Chance.
It could be for them,
Yeah.
but it also, is it gonna benefit them as much as it's gonna benefit you?
No, probably not.
Probably not.
Honestly,
In some cases, usually when it's somebody really close, though, too, it does really benefit them because it benefits your guys' relationship
it's like
a lot.
some sad story where there's like, I'm not gonna say it because it's gonna make people sad. I'm not gonna say it, but it's like there's some stories out there that I'm like that benefited both of them like a lot.
Yeah, one that comes to mind. I'll talk about this one.
Is it dark?
It was
It's kind of dark.
well, it was a mom and her daughter, and they were driving, and they got hit by a drunk driver, and the daughter died, and
So mine's less dark.
the drunk the drunk driver went to jail,
Yeah.
and she forgave him and paid for his bail,
Yeah.
and then he is to this day sober, and it changed his whole life, that forgiveness that she had. So there's cases where that's the case is where it helps somebody more than it helps you.
Yeah.
Usually sometimes it's at the cost of your own thing, though, of your own.
Yeah.
That was, yeah.
I'm not gonna say mine. Mine is not even about forgiveness. I realize I went over it in my head. At the beginning, I'm tired, so but I'll tell you guys, it's not about forgiveness, but I've seen this one story. It's there's a lot of these, but it's these parents, their child dies at he's 20 though, okay guys, but he dies, and then there's someone that needs an organ transplant, a kidney or a heart or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then that person ends up getting their child's heart. There's this one story of this dude getting this parent's child's heart, and the mom goes and visits him just to hear her son's heartbeat. And I'm wow.
Yeah.
And the dude is he's just happy to be alive.
Mm-hmm.
I could tie that in. You ready?
All right, I'm ready.
We should just all be happy to be alive, to be honest. It's and yet we hold grudges, and we be mean, and we bully each other, and we take our problems to the extreme and force it on everybody else because we feel like we can't deal with them. But yet there's people like that man right there that's just happy to be alive. I'm in that same boat. I'm just happy to be alive. I've been that way since I was young.
Mm-hmm.
But not everybody has a story like me or that dude. And they have problems. Some people have problems because they have parents. Some people have their problems because they don't have parents. Some people have problems for many things. Their brother or sister died or something like that. And maybe they can't deal with it. So they take it out on other people. Because they either can't deal with it or they don't want to.
Yeah, so they take it out on other people or themselves.
And
that's when it gets dangerous.
The thing is, it sucks. It very much does suck. But think of that man right there. He has a family. He has people that loved him. And he almost didn't have a heart. He would have died.
Mm-hmm.
But he got a heart, and he was just glad to be alive. He was glad he got to hold his child. He was glad. So when the mom asked him if she could hear her son's heart, he could have been like, heck no. Get away from me.
Weird.
You weirdo. Get away from me. But no, he understood. And he was like, go ahead. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it's sad to see that we, for the smallest problems, we would go ballistic on someone. And then there's people like that, or people that have stories like me. Like, I'm not the same as people that are going through cancer right now. Because I'm in remission right now. So that means I have it, but I don't. It's like this weird thing. We're not going to get it in a day. There's people that are going through it right now that just want to live. They want to just have another day to see their families. They don't care about the small problems. They don't care about any of that. They just want to make sure they get the most time with their family and the people they love. And we take that for granted. It's a sucky thing to do. Is take it for granted. Sometimes I'll even admit I do that sometimes. I'll be a jerk to people.
I think we all do that sometimes.
And we all do
you know?
that. And I'll lay down in bed, and a story like that will pop in my head. Or I'll think back about the past. I'm like, I'm just glad to be alive at this point. Why not? Make the most of everything. That's what I'm doing here. I want everybody to know that we're not doing this for fame. We're not doing that for anything. I'm here to spread the love that I got from people growing up. Because I know some people don't have it in their lives. I want to make sure that you just jump on here and hear me be loud. And having maybe like an older brother. Or maybe a little brother. Or whatever you think we are to you. But you just have a place you can go if you feel like you don't have a place to go. Even though we're over a camera. But
Or a phone of some sort.
Or phone. I meant because we're
Audio.
We're recording on camera.
Yeah.
But if you're watching this on a screen, or television, or even if you know us in real life, that I'm not always like this in person. I'm more quiet. And that's because I know I've had a lot of people that used me for my story. But the people that actually want to get to know me, I try to show as much love as I can to them.
Yeah, that's well said.
Damn, I'm like...
It's tearing up. Tearing up.
I just really care about them. Care about all of you guys. Please subscribe. That's like the worst time to do it. But,
That's funny.
I meant all those words just to tell you it was no bit, okay? I don't do bits like that. That would be awful.
Yeah.
We are on after forgiveness, the inward and outward forgiveness.
Yeah, so kind of it was saying that in some cases when you forgive, it will be silent.
Yeah.
Which is the
This one though.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay.
Which sometimes that is true. Sometimes it's
just like, as we said, it's just you yourself is like just letting go of this like weight that's holding you down and being like, that person, I forgive them. Because at the end of the day, it's nothing to be worried about. Something like that. Or it'll be like someone close to you has like broken your trust or whatever. And you're like, I need them to know that they did that. Like, because sometimes people don't know that they did that.
It's true. Yeah.
So you bring it up, and then you're like, I forgive you. And sometimes they might be like, what? But at the end of the day, it's not for them. It's for you. It's you confronting them and being like, even though you did that to me, I forgive you.
Yeah. And then there is sometimes where it's not appropriate to, where it's not appropriate to outward forgive. Like if somebody comes driving up next to you and flips you off, and then you yell out your window, "I forgive you."
Yeah, that's probably not
They
the
might
best.
chase you down and punch you in the nose.
Yeah.
So maybe like
Maybe just inward forgive them.
yeah, maybe just inward forgive them.
You're like, I forgive you. And they're like, what are you saying?
Yeah.
Just
But yeah, sometimes it's not appropriate to outwardly forgive somebody.
Let's get to the
And then, so yeah,
quotes.
that's kind of our. Those are all of the steps that we've found for
Yeah.
forgiveness.
Once again,
and on
if
your
you
journey
know
there.
any ones we forgot, tell us. Tell us if you're doing a weird order, like you do 4, or you do 6 instead of 4, sort of thing, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, just tell us what you guys think. Tell us if you liked my little speech later before it. I try to do my best, okay, for you guys.
Yeah. Also, before we kind of
Wrap up.
get into our last kind of
last
quotes and
quotes.
stuff,
Yeah.
I would just like to talk about kind of asking for forgiveness too. If you're not on the if you're on the other side of what we're talking about, and
Like if you hurt someone.
yeah, if you've hurt somebody and you want that relationship back, but
Yeah.
you don't know how to do it, there's ways that you can actually regain that relationship and
Yeah.
and
It's-
ask for forgiveness, because that's a really
Yeah. It's
Tough
I'm pretty
thing.
sure it's the same steps as forgiveness, normal forgiveness.
yeah, it kind of is.
But instead of internally forgiving them, you
Yeah, and instead of forgiving, you're asking for forgiveness.
Yeah.
And then it's pretty much the same
like,
thing.
can you forgive me for the stuff I did?
Yeah. And then you might have to do some work.
Yeah.
You're
They
going
might
to
be
have
like,
to do
it's
some work either way.
It's
But
gonna be hard to rebuild this, but if you're ready, we can.
yeah.
Sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Okay. Quotes.
So these are kind
Ready?
of our last 2 quotes that we kind of want to leave you guys with as we end the series.
I don't know the name, so you're gonna have to read the name after I read the quote.
Okay.
Okay, surely it is much more generous to forgive and remember than to forgive and forget.
Mario. No, Maria Edgeworth.
Yeah, that looked like a W for a second. But what do you get from it? Because I've been talking a lot. What do you get from that quote?
What do I get from this quote?
Like what? Yeah.
I just think it's beneficial to not forget about what happened,
Yeah.
because then you kind of lose the value of what it took to get that relationship back.
But but also if you forgive and forget, like it says, is sometimes you don't actually forgive it. You're like, oh, I forgive and forget you, and then later on you get an argument with them and you bring it up, like, I thought you forgave you for that.
Yeah, sometimes it's just forgetting that you forgave.
yeah, yeah. But if you forgive and remember, you're like, they did haunt me this time, but I also remember we built the relationship.
Yeah.
And I forgave them.
Yeah,
Like, even though they did that, I still care about them. Mm-hmm. We still have a relationship. Sometimes it's okay to forgive and forget for like the minor stuff.
like if
someone
somebody
calls you,
stole your
like,
pencil or
"You
something.
stupid," like that, and then
Yeah.
you're like, eventually you're like, I forgive you. Now I'm gonna forget that because that was stupid. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. The next one. Mistakes are always forgivable if one has the courage to accept them. Bruce Lee. I had to do that. I had to do this.
Yeah.
It's just, what do you get from this one?
So yeah, it says if one has the courage to admit them at the end, you have to admit the mistakes. This one's kind of on the other side, is when you're asking for forgiveness.
Yeah.
Admitting your mistakes and knowing what you did.
Yeah.
That's definitely
It's
how
like-
you make the path. That's how
Yeah.
you sow the
This
seed.
is on the other side of, instead of you forgiving them, it's more of like a you ask for forgiveness. Because as it says, it takes courage to admit them. Like it takes courage to admit you did wrong. Because we all do stuff wrong, but it's hard to admit we did things wrong.
It's also hard to tell people that they did something wrong, too.
Yeah.
Especially if they're, a lot more...
Because there'll be sometimes I do something wrong, and then someone's like, oh, you did that wrong. I'm like, nope, I did not.
Yeah.
Not at all. Or I'll, like, say something mean, and I know I, like, said something mean. Like, you said something mean. And I'm like, nope. You said something before me. That was me. Mm-hmm. So I was just being mean back. Like, no, I did not. And then there'll be times where I'm like, yeah, I did say something mean. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
I shouldn't have said that. That's where this quote gets is like the whole, you're like, I know I harmed you. I know I harmed you. And I would love for you to forgive me. And I know it might be hard. But I hope one day we could mend this and make this better. Sort of thing. Sometimes I might be still wounded and they probably say no. But sometimes you never know.
It's true.
They might be like, I would love that too. Let's try to rebuild this.
Yeah, I totally
Did I just leave you speechless?
No, I forgot what I was going to say again. I had something I was going to say, and I
just
slipped
keep
my
making
mind
you
again.
forget stuff.
Huh?
I said I keep making you forget stuff, don't I? Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah. It's your tiredness.
Yeah,
Your brain's dead, isn't it?
it's probably
You killed
true.
your brain.
It's probably true. I was going to say something, and I really wanted to say it too,
Okay.
but I just don't remember what it was.
Okay. Well, this has been an amazing series.
Yeah.
I've loved this series. We would love to know what you guys want us to talk about next. Once again, we are not professionals at all. You know, sometimes I say some stuff that's mad heat, but like, we're not professionals. I'm not a professional. Okay, so if you do want to see a professional, that would be a therapist. And if you feel like you really need it, go to therapy. It's a good thing. I've seen a lot of people go to therapy and they feel much better. But if you feel like you're not in the right place yet, we're not forcing you to. And if you feel like if you don't got the money for it, don't do it. Because I know some people might not have money for it and yet they want to go do it. And I'm like, well, you should think about like your living situation and food.
Yeah.
Like that.
I mean, it could be other things where they're paying for something that they don't need, but
But
I
if
think
you
it's
have the money
definitely
for
beneficial. But
or if you can do it through insurance or anything like that, go do it.
yeah.
If you need to. Because some people might not be ready. That's why I'm saying if you need to. Mm-hmm. If you're not ready, don't go to it because then you're just going to hate it. Because you're like, I'm not ready to grow. I'm not ready to change. Let's not do this. And if you're forcing someone to go to therapy, make sure they're ready. Because if they're not, it's just going to be a disaster. So, this is none other than Smalls and
Biggs.
We'll see you guys next week for a normal podcast. Hopefully you guys love it. We'll have fun. We start our next series sometime soon.
Yep.
See y'all.
See you guys.
Bye.